Sister Elaine, how you doing?
Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning. How are you?
I'm well. And yourself?
I'm doing well. I'm doing well. It's good to see you on this Thursday. We normally, I know we normally wait a couple minutes. This is how people join. But it's good to see you. I was just telling everybody I'm super excited about this conversation with you. I mean, every time I talk to you, you drop some wisdom to me. So I'm excited for this conversation. How was your day?
It was long. It was long.
It was long. It was a long day. Okay, that's good. You still in Connecticut? You come down tomorrow, right? Or you still where are
Nope,
you?
I'm in Manhattan
You
now.
Manhattan? Okay, all right. That's cool. Yeah. How's the decorating your apartment? Are you getting stuff? You need anything right now? You good or how's that coming along?
I think I'm good right now.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay.
Um,
Good, good.
Slowly but surely.
Yeah,
Um, yeah, just living life, loving life.
I hear that. Now take pace yourself. I know I moved in. I moved probably like 3 weeks, 3 months ago, 3 or 4 months ago, and I'm still moving in. I'm still not, don't have everything yet. So I get it. I get it. Um, it's good. No, it's whew, this is a wild week. This is ended up being a crazy week. So I'm glad tomorrow's Friday. Um, how's Elaine Jr.? How is she doing?
She's doing great. Today's actually my Friday. I work a Sunday through Thursday schedule.
Okay, all right. Well, happy Friday to you. That's
Yes.
good.
Yes.
That's good. Yes. Let's see what we got here. All right. We'll wait a couple more minutes. So is she how's she doing in school? How's the remote learning going for her?
So I have her doing hybrid. She just started 3 days in school this week,
Okay.
with the new year, but she does better in school
Hmm.
because I think everyone just does better in school. They need that social interaction.
Yeah.
And also my patience as a teacher, yeah, those teachers need the big bucks.
Yeah.
And also just some things that she's learning I sort of forgot, and I'm telling her the wrong stuff. Like, she's in first grade, so they're learning about vertices or
Okay.
vertices or
Yeah.
something. I call them corners. I don't know. Like, I
Yeah.
don't remember learning about that in first grade, maybe fourth grade or fifth grade.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
yeah, so like she has that down. She's doing really good in math. She struggles a little bit with her Arabic and Islamic studies.
Mm.
And I think that's because she's not every day like around Arabic speaking people, but the Islamic studies is coming along. Like, she averages an 80. Just me being, a mom, I'm like, no, you need to get 100. You need to get 100.
Here you go. Nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, it's
Is it?
definitely coming along. I just try to try her best. I don't want to put too much stress on her because,
Yeah.
yeah, she's very bright. Like, science and social studies, she got down pat.
She's on it.
She could tell you a whole bunch of stuff about habitats and animals and dinosaurs and bugs. So,
Totally. No, that's cool. No, so yeah, so no, this is like I said to everyone, I'm excited for this conversation. I mean, I know you're just amazing person, amazing mother, amazing community member, and so just another episode of No Matter What. So no matter what, we're going to lift the brown and black culture. Today we got Sister Elaine on us. So she's one of the amazing parents that are in our program, and she was just talking about Elaine Jr. And how great she is, and she's just doing her thing. I mean, she's learning stuff that it took probably I learned probably in the fourth fifth grade, and some things I don't even know any of it. The stuff that she's learning, so that's awesome. Yeah, that's awesome. Now you mentioned like Islamic study. That was it hard to find that in the city? Was it hard to find a school that could support that?
actually, there's several schools in the city. A lot of them are in Brooklyn.
Okay, okay.
Um, so I think that was the only difficulty was about the borough.
Hmm.
The one in Manhattan is pretty well known. The Islamic school, the Cultural Center on 96th
Yeah,
Street.
yeah.
Um, but they only offer scholarships for like the upper level. So like I think first or second grade is when they start, when they once they have a gist of what their grades are like, because they offer academic scholarships. So
Mm-hmm.
we got a need-based scholarship for this school, which was good, and is based off of family size and income.
Got it. Okay.
So,
All right.
but and also they're working. You know, she has an IEP, so they're working with her, and that's been a roller coaster. Not so much more because of the school, but because of DOE and their guidelines about choosing um, a non-public school and needing DOE services.
Mm. And so when you access IEP, what I'm hearing is they try to keep you in certain schools. You can't access other schools. Is that what
Right.
I
Yeah.
just heard?
Yeah. The pushback I'm getting back from them is like, well, that's for public schools only. And I'm like, okay, what does it matter if DOE is giving the services? The standards of how you give the services should be the same. It shouldn't be, okay, we're gonna give less than because she has
Hmm.
IEP. It's a contract.
Yeah, exactly.
So
Yeah.
yeah, so it's a new adventure and we're maneuvering it. So
Yeah, you're doing your thing. So I have to ask you, when I was thinking about this doing this tonight and what went down in the Capitol yesterday. Yeah.
Lord have mercy.
Lord have mercy. Yeah, so I just, love, you gotta unpack that for a little bit. What's your thoughts around that, what went down yesterday?
Um, you know what? It's been a hectic year. I feel like 2021 did not start yet.
Yeah, yeah,
This is just spillage
yeah.
from
Spillage.
2020. Yeah, stuff is seeping.
Yeah.
So I guess hopefully the new year will start January 20th or January 14th. Some,
Yeah. So, so
that's I'm gonna set my clocks for that date.
yeah.
Um, because really, if you just just thinking about all the protests that was going on and they were peaceful and then turned violent, and it was sort of suspect where it appeared like we were being set up, whether it was Black Lives Matters or just protesting in general with everything that happened with George Floyd and Breonna Taylor, Aubrey. It feels surreal that the police look like they didn't know what to do. I can't even say it was peaceful. They just looked like they did not know what to do.
No,
They were
no.
standing around like with basically how they would look before, like if they were setting up for something, but it
Yeah,
was in the middle of everything going on.
yeah,
And that it took an hour for the National Guard to respond,
yeah,
and that they have video of police taking selfies with some of the protesters, and they have um even like when they were going back and forth and arguing with them, yeah, they got a little bit violent for the people on the outside. And I
hmm
think that's just a natural knee-jerk reaction and a little bit of group think when there's a lot going on if someone's screaming at you. So that you saw a little bit of that, but not as much as you would have seen if it was Black and brown people. And that was crazy to me.
yeah. It's
Um,
crazy.
Surprising, not
Yeah.
surprising. It was a little bit of both because you
Mm.
see large crowds gathering and you feel the tension in general. But it was like you didn't even get the results yet.
Hmm.
Why are you storming the Capitol? Why are you you
Yeah.
know when we were waiting for information and results of indictments and stuff to come down before they even made announcements, we had people or the police rather, oh, they're going to be there just in case. Well, you knew Georgia voted, you should have been there just in case. You knew
Yeah.
they were going.
Yeah.
So so it was sort of surreal, really.
Yeah. No, that's good. You got a good point. I remember, yeah, like you said, when certain things went down, they boarded up. Even when the election, they boarded up all Manhattan,
Right.
preparing for the worst.
All
All the stores on
downtown.
Fifth Avenue, and now,
Yeah.
they just,
And Soho, all
yeah,
of that was boarded up.
yeah, yeah,
Like nobody going down to go rob no Pandora. We don't go down there anyway. It's
yeah,
too
exactly.
expensive. Who you boarding it up from?
No doubt, no doubt. So I know you're passionate about policy and you know, policing and all that stuff. Where that come from? Where that start? Where that fire start?
Um, so policing and just everything that's been going on, I think it's been a slow build up. I didn't really realize when I was younger that there was a difference in how we were policed, like
Mm,
being brown and black and low income. Um, and especially being a female, I didn't notice that at all. Like I wasn't stopped by the police. I was, never stop and frisk, never, oh, where you going, or you shouldn't be here. So it was surreal, um, to me, or I lived sort of in a bubble. I was oblivious more so.
mm-hmm.
And then once I got to around 16, I remember my brother just always being stopped by the police. And he's a great guy. Like you remind me of him actually.
Mm. Oh, thank you.
He
Thank you very
yeah.
much.
He does a lot. And but he was, for riding his moped, he was stopped.
Mm.
For being outside, he went to he was in Maine for middle school and high school. So him being home for break and being outside, he was stopped. Oh, truancy. Him driving in the BMW, he was stopped. Him having mail on him with his two last names because his name is hyphenated with mom and dad name. Oh, that's fraud. What kind of game you playing? And I'm like, yo, he getting stopped all the time for just existing.
Mm.
And then even when city bikes came out, oh, where's your receipt? That was recent. Like, where's your
Wow.
receipt? Like, stopping, like, oh, we got complaints that people stealing, bikes are not paying for it. Like, if you don't push it in all the way. And I'm like, but just, why are you just stopping him? Like, all the time. And that's when it made me more aware of, like, it's dangerous to
Mm.
be out here in them streets as a black male. And that got me passionate about, just letting black males know what are your choices and other opportunities that you have out there besides sports, because being in this community, you can't just hang out in a group.
Mm-hmm.
They're gonna think you in a gang. You can't just hang out and say that you're with your friends, ride your bike and stuff that children do, young men
Mm.
do. You can't do that. And it was frightening. Like, even, and then also thinking, oh, I don't want him to get in trouble with grandpa, grandma, and my mom, because it was an interaction with the police. Even though you didn't do nothing wrong, we don't want you to get in trouble. And that
Mm-hmm.
was always in the back of my head. And that was frightening,
Mm.
But that, again, that was like when I was 16. So I started definitely working with young men and wanting to be mentors and young boys and tutoring them and, like, get an education. Um, but the big thing that made me, like, just change everything was I feel more so when my significant other got arrested, and
Mm.
it's like, okay, you're in the household with me, and they think you did a crime. Now
Mm.
what? Now
Mm.
how are we gonna um fix this problem? What, it's more than just, okay, my brother, it's more than just you. It's happening worldwide now. You've seen other stuff. You got Sandra Bland. You can't, now, no, I'm noticing more, no one is safe. You get
Mm.
stopped, you might not make it back home. And I'm like, you know what, something else has to be done. So I'm like, what can I do to give back, to my community, but also nationwide, because there are a lot of policies that when they were created, they did not consider brown and black people or low income people, and that's horrible. It's always, oh, we need a solution right now. No, you need to think about a solution that's gonna help right now, but also how is it gonna affect generations later? Because
Mm.
um
Mm-hmm.
it's a trickle down effect, and you can't have generations feeling like they're in a cycle that they can't break out of, that's detrimental to their health, to their sanity, to living life and enjoying
Mm.
life.
Mm-hmm. So I know you talked a little bit about trials and discovery and all that kind of stuff on like those important things, with your experience, like with your significant other, and realizing like the state is against against you and all that kind of stuff. Can you speak a little bit about that experience?
So yeah, the one of the policies I'm passionate about and that I'm looking into and just trying to get more hands on with is about discovery and
Mm,
how the justice system in general uses stuff that is supposed to protect us as a society when we are accused of a crime. And they're not supposed to just throw away the key and lock us up. You're accused of a crime, you're supposed to be innocent until proven guilty, but yet they have all these other policies that make it impossible. They make you feel guilty,
mm,
and you feel like you should plead guilty to get just out of the whole circumstance that's going on, because it affects other areas of your life. If you're in school, you can't go to school. If you you know your job, you can't work. If you're head of household, now your whole household is affected. Your
mm,
children are traumatized. They're now you become homeless because you're not working. Some places you can't even live or be at. You can't find another job, so it really puts you in a rut that you can't get out of, and you're like, what should I do?
mm,
And then you're in debt. If you have a bail and you can afford it, you're in debt. Someone
mm,
has to put it up. Someone has to put up their house, their life insurance, or your savings that you thought you was going to retire with, or your savings that you thought you was going to send your children to, or your savings, for a rainy day, a surgery. It's gone now.
yeah, yeah,
And
it's real.
it takes a really long time. The police are the investigators when a crime occurs. They're
Hmm.
supposed to find out what happens. They're supposed to get to the bottom of it. When you're putting, paying for your defense, you may not have money for an investigator. That
Hmm.
information should be shared with you. Whatever they find out, they're supposed to share with you. The prosecutor is supposed to not only seek justice for the victim, but they're supposed to also make sure injustice does not occur to the person that is a suspect and accused.
Hmm.
And if it comes up that you're innocent, they should drop the charges and let you go.
Hmm.
9 times out of 10, that doesn't happen. They'll drop the
Hmm.
charges after you spend years in prison, and they don't
Hmm.
want to say sorry. They don't want to, admit there was a mistake, or they always want to blame someone else, when in
Hmm.
reality you're working hand in hand with the police. You're working hand in hand, um coercing people and not referring people to other programs that can assist you in getting out of these situations. If you're abusing substances, then you need a substance abuse treatment program. You don't need jail.
Hmm. Hmm. That's
If
real.
if
Yeah.
you're a domestic violence intimate partner violence survivor, then you need mental health counseling, and you need maybe some communication skills training. You need job training so you don't have to depend on somebody else to take care of you. You need other stuff, but you defending yourself because someone attacked you doesn't mean you should be in jail, especially when there's evidence
Hmm.
showing that it was self-defense.
Hmm. Wow. Yeah. No, that's real. No, I
So
mean you talk
like
a lot about that.
now,
Yeah, go ahead, go ahead. I'm sorry.
yeah, now with the internet, if you don't have internet and your kids can't get on to go to school, you don't need an ACS case. You shouldn't be
Yeah.
put in jail, because for educational neglect. Like
Yeah.
there's other solutions that's out there that we should explore, basically.
Yeah, no, that's real. And that's something that you just highlighted and I didn't think through, but just, yeah, hitting on that. Like, yeah, if you don't have internet, you don't have a device, all of a sudden they blame it on you for not sending the kids to school and there's no choice. That's big. And you talk a lot about collateral damage to it. And so, one, um, just so how are you what are you doing now to try to do what policy, to work on policy? What are you doing here at Friends or in other places? What are some things that you're doing?
So at Friends, I am on the parent advisory committee, and I feel that is real powerful because we have all been touched by the foster care system or incarceration, and making sure that our children know that, you know, this we could break this cycle, and seeing what is affecting them, and trying to make sure that they are not the collateral damage, and making sure they're getting the resources and the help that they need so they could be successful. And I'm grateful for that, grateful for you, Gary, you know, so that we could explore that and see what issues keep coming up, and so we can address them and see how we would have liked them to be addressed, and see, you know, if we can even bring this to our city council and bring it to the Senate, and just, you know, bring it to the forefront so that people know this is what is going on. I'm still involved with Educational Alliance, which is where, you know, I first got my start with Policy Council. I was on their Policy Council, their Early Head Start and Head Start program. Good. And really just, you know, trying to make sure they understood that all children need education. It doesn't matter if you have a lot of money, you don't have a lot of money. It doesn't matter if you're Islamic. It doesn't matter if you're Jewish. It doesn't matter if you're Christian. And I'm on an interfaith women's group with them still, just showing support as a woman, as a single mom, and as someone that practices Islam, on where we have stuff that are similar, our similarities, and where we could build from that, because we go through similar struggles, and we shouldn't let our differences hold us back from helping each other, because we're a community. Like the Lower East Side is a melting pot. I feel like this is the real melting pot. And there's no reason why we can't work together with everyone that's in the area and make sure that they have food, make sure that their rent is paid, make sure that the children is in childcare, or, you know, if you don't have a device, well, that you have something at home to keep their mind stimulated, so that they don't lose everything that they learned, because it's a difficult time for everyone. And right now, that's what we're focusing on. But we started before the pandemic and before everything happened, just to see like how we could build in the Lower East Side. So we're definitely, you know, once we get out of this rut, we want to see what else we can do and where we can build with policies around what is needed in the Lower East Side. And yeah, definitely education, criminal justice reform. My other program that I'm really heavily invested in is Women's Prison Association. And we went to Sundance in January 2020, like right before everything came to a halt.
Okay.
We created this immersive project called Still Here, which explores gentrification and incarceration and the impacts on women coming home from jail. And it focuses in Harlem, but that has led me to realize that, again, I'm not the only woman going through it. And even though my story differs a lot from other people, I was only incarcerated for 4 days. Yeah, I can't go back to prison. I tell people that. I don't know how people do months and years, and then you find out you're innocent and stuff. 4 days was too much. I was pregnant. They didn't want to give me toilet paper. They didn't. I couldn't get an OBGYN appointment. You know, I was concerned about my baby. I was 7 months pregnant. I felt like I was hungry all the time. So seeing that, I'm like, I need to speak up for those that can't speak for themselves, who are incarcerated, especially women, especially pregnant women. The treatment in prison is so inhumane. And I was only there for 4 days. I could only imagine what they are going through during the pandemic, being isolated, not being able to shower, not getting preventative treatment, not having PPE. It's horrifying. And again, the people that are in prison, some of them, they needed programs. They needed a chance. They needed an opportunity for something else. And or if they're just sitting there because they're waiting for a trial, and you know, courthouses are closed now, or cases are slow. They're slowly getting through the cases. How is that fair when you have a right to speedy trial?
Yeah, yeah.
And a speedy trial, the definition is 1 year if you're incarcerated. I don't know what people thought a speedy trial is, but I didn't think it was a year. Like,
Wow.
and you have to
Yeah.
request it. It's not automatic.
Hmm.
You have
If
to
you don't know
request.
that, you could be sitting there for a little bit, for a minute, if you don't know that. Yeah.
Yeah. So look at Khalif Browder for 3 years
Hmm.
for a book bag, and then they dropped the charges.
Yep. Yep. No, that's crazy. So I'm glad, I'm glad I'm catching you because you gonna do big things. So I'm glad I'm catching you now to get to know you before you blow up. So what's the future hold for you? I mean, what you want to do? What's the future? What's the plan?
My future is, I think I want to get into politics. Not
Okay.
necessarily run for an office, but be in the office. Like, I feel like the people behind the scene are the real, the real deal.
Yeah.
Everyone else is just puppets.
Yeah, that's the voice. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I mean, so sometimes you hold a little bit of power. President, you're able to veto stuff, but there's checks and balances that you're supposed to use, and only Trump is the only person that was like, you know what, I don't care about checks and balances. So
Yeah. I'm gonna do that too. Yeah.
right,
So,
but
yeah.
definitely being in there and like, the next Olivia Pope or something like, yeah, you should read this policy. This looks good. This is, how's it gonna affect communities, and maybe this is
Yeah.
not gonna work. You should do this, and giving advice and behind the big decisions. I don't have to be in the forefront.
No doubt. So why is politics so important? I mean, I know we talked a little bit about it on some of the committees, but I know you talk about it's not just about the president. I know we're getting ready here in New York for the election next fall.
Yeah, the
Why is yeah
DA.
yeah
Well, these smaller elections is what affects your day to day.
mm,
People forget about that. Everyone's like, oh, we got to go out and vote for the president. The president is not the one putting people behind bars. The president is not the one rezoning schools. The president is not the one rezoning tax areas or the precincts. You may think you're in one precinct, but you're in another precinct. The president is not the one making any of these decisions. He signs off on people's checks at the end of the day, but if the people that are making these actual decisions are at these local elections, or even just reading what propositions are up, because sometimes they
mm,
sneak it in there. You think you're voting for a mayor, and then they tell you to read the proposition in the back. We have,
yeah
legalizing marijuana that was up, cash bail that was up for elections.
yeah
Like we're voting for this stuff. So you need to go to the elections every time there's an election, not just for the president, because this is your day to day. You're saying, oh, we need better policing, or we need to, divest funding from them and return it back to our school. Well, then show up at the elections, the local elections, and let them know where you want the money spent, who you want in office. These prosecutors are just running amok
mm,
with you
hmm,
know with what they're doing. Prosecutorial misconduct and immunity. Like, we need to say we don't want that anymore, and
mm,
tell them, like, you need to be held accountable if there's misconduct. Not, oh, misconduct, you lose your job and then you move to another
mm,
state or another town and you can get the same job. No, misconduct, you cannot work in this field anymore, because if you're a
mm,
bank robber, you cannot get a job working in a bank.
yeah yeah
Like,
yeah yeah
you can't be
yeah
a
that's
cop
real.
and you killed somebody and then you be a cop somewhere else, or a security guard. No, you're not a cop no more. You
Mm,
can't. You a prosecutor and you can't be a lawyer no more. You can't give legal
damn.
advice anywhere. It's, we need to
Yeah.
hold them accountable, because we voted for them and
Mm-hmm.
they work for us. Your tax dollars pay for them. Tell them where you want your tax dollars spent and what programs you want them to have. We can have alternative to incarceration. You can get people on ankle bracelets and let them be home and go to school and work while they're waiting for a trial.
Mm-hmm.
You could do substance abuse programs. Like, there's money for those programs.
Mm-hmm. No doubt. No, that's good. Now, man, I told you, I knew you were gonna drop the mic on me. I knew you were gonna get drop signs. I know you always come with it. Always. So I always end with this question, my no matter what question. So it's just so much. I mean, you just got so much knowledge that you can just give to everyone. So no matter what do you think the community needs to know, needs to do for themselves? If no matter what. Yeah.
Yeah, I think the community needs to know we hold the power, and it's time that we take back our power. I'm sick and tired of being sick and tired. I'm
Mm.
sick and tired of us saying, "Oh, they need to do better or it needs to be better." In reality, we are what is going to make it better. We're our own agents of change. We need to step up and say, "Okay, this is what I want done," and don't start with the compromise. Go big.
Yeah. Yeah. There
Like,
you go.
I'm an abolitionist. I don't think there should be prisons.
Mm-hmm.
Someone did something wrong. You want to say they have a defect. Well, okay. Well, you need to make a nice greenhouse and let it be like a resort and give them what they need. I guess that's renaming it, but treat them like humans. They're humans, and they're incarcerated. They're not an
Mm-hmm.
inmate. They're not a number. Treat people like people, and that's everybody: brown, black, low income, millionaire, billionaire, reality star. They need to get it together and step up, and we need to join our voices. A lot of things going on in the Hispanic culture community right now. Black voices, we can join together, pool our dollars together, and hit them where it hurts, because we're spending money,
Yeah.
and we don't have anything to show for it.
No doubt. No
We
doubt.
buy houses, start our own stores, um,
There you go.
programs like Friends of the Children,
Doing it.
community
No,
centers, and ask for our tax dollars to be spent there.
doing it. Well, Sister Elaine, it was a pleasure. It was a pleasure. I'm glad we get to connect again next week. I knew this was going to be a great conversation. I appreciate you so much. I appreciate everything that you do. I'm always here for you. And I know you're always here for me. So thank you for joining us tonight. I appreciate that.
I appreciate you too. Thank you for inviting me to speak with you tonight.
All right. Well, you have a good night and tell Elaine Jr. I said hello.
All right, stay blessed. Have a
No,
good
you too.
evening.
You too. Bye.
Bye.